Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is under global scrutiny tonight over civilian casualties caught up in the war against the Hamas terrorist group. But Israel has warned the war is far from over and could go on for months. Addressing the Knesset, the Israeli parliament, Benjamin Netanyahu said, "We are not stopping, and we will not stop until we are victorious, because we have no country but this one, and we have no other way." But let's bring in our panel, former Speaker of the House of Representatives, the great Bronwyn Bishop, and former Victorian Liberal Party President Michael Kroger joining me. It's great to have you both on the program. I mean, Bronwyn, I think Benjamin Netanyahu is right. He's got to stand for what he believes in.
Yes, he does, Gary. And seriously, it made me think of what was happening in the 1930s in Germany and in Poland. And of course, Poland was the home of European Jewry. There were 3 million Jews lived in Poland in the 30s, out of a total population of 9.5 million. Now, they'd had a pact with Hitler in 1934 that he wouldn't invade them. He pulled out in 1939. Hitler then sent in a force of 1.5 million people, soldiers. On the 1st of September 1939, on the 17th of September, Russia invaded from the other side in accordance with Stalin and Hitler's agreement. On the 6th of October, the last Polish fighter surrendered. 3 million Jews died, the 3 million of them, except for 200,000, 136,000 of which were in Russia. Now, when Netanyahu makes that statement, he knows what oblivion, what genocide, what murder of the Jews means. And if you look at the world population now, there are 16.5 million Jews in the entire world. There are 2.3 billion Muslims in the world. And so when they say this is all we've got, and when they say the river to the sea, they mean push the Jews out and write them off. They want them gone. You can see what that statement means, and you can see what they're fighting for. So we have to remember what
Michael,
history says.
This war... Yeah, I agree. And Michael, the war could stop tomorrow if Hamas surrendered. I heard you say that the other day, and I've been saying it to a lot of other people as well. I mean, there's just so much pressure on Netanyahu going on here, but in fact, Hamas really are the ones that have to put down the weapons, stop fighting, and let peace have a chance.
Yeah, Gary, of course they do. And Biden should have said this on day one. He should have said on day one, the way to get peace, the way to stop the war is for these Palestinian terrorists to lay down their weapons and, face arrest. But no, they use human shields. They couldn't care two hoots about the common Palestinians. They've obviously been in significant numbers been killed because of the cowardice of the Hamas Palestinians. But, mate, yeah, of course this could have been over, but why the West didn't say to keep the pressure on the Hamas and the Palestinian leadership, the pressure seems in the press on Israel, for goodness sake. Well, it was the Palestinian terrorists that crossed the border from Gaza into southern Israel in October, not the other way around. So Netanyahu's 100% right. There is no option for the West and the world. Israel have to finish the job. I note, by the way, we didn't leave a cohort of Nazis, in Munich or somewhere. We didn't three-quarters finish the war in 1945 and leave, in Bavaria, for example, a couple 100,000 Nazis to sort of, keep going. No, Israel have got no option. And the West have to support them. And the weakness of people in the West will long be remembered by those who were appalled by their failure to understand the need for moral clarity on this issue, mate.
Yeah, we're seriously lacking leadership everywhere. Meanwhile, the heads of Australia's major public service departments, Prime Minister and Cabinet on down, have received really quite a nice result, the latest round of pay rises, hundreds of thousands of dollars more than the Prime Minister. I guess there's nothing new in all of that, but Prime Minister Albanese currently earns about $587,000. Well, he's paid it anyway. And by contrast, the Secretary of his department, Glyn Davis, who I must admit I know, He was my tutor years ago at Griffith Uni. I think I was the only Conservative that got out of that great left-wing university. But anyway, he's on 977,000. Yep, 977. The secretaries of the Departments of Attorney General, Defence, Social Services, they've all been boosted up to this sort of $1 million a year base pay. I mean, Michael, fat cat salaries necessary to keep government departments competitive with the private sector? Really? Is that the story?
No,
I don't think so.
No, this is nonsense, Gary. I mean, I don't think any of these public servants' heads, by the way, should be paid more than the Prime Minister. I mean, for all sorts of reasons. His job is harder, it's more short-term, it's riskier, it's got a tenure every 3 years, a risk. I'm sure if you paid some of these people $100,000 less, they'd still, say, OK, I'll take that, or even $200,000 or $300,000 less. I would think, Gary, $400,000 to $500,000. If they can earn more in the private sector, great. Go and earn more with that fee at Macquarie Bank or somewhere else. But why we need to pay almost $1 million to people like Glyn Davis, you do not. And this is, again, part of these elites in Canberra paying huge salaries, totally unnecessary and totally removed from the ordinary Australians, many of whom are earning less than 1/10 of that, mate.